Okay, we're back at it again. After my last video, I got a couple of responses or questions and ideas that I need to further explain. And so I've taken some notes and I want to kind of go through the list. I don't think I can do it all at once, so I'm just going to take a subject at a time. One of the first questions I got was men don't trust women with a huge question mark. And it's kind of a harsh statement, kind of rough to say, but the truth is that no, we typically don't trust women for the things that we need to carry. Okay, we trust women to be women. Okay, and that in today's society it changes a lot. But if you consider this, um, if a girl is playing basketball, if a girl is doing construction, if a girl is a nanny, if a girl is a CEO or a coach, um, if a girl is a, I don't know, a soldier even. There's a bunch of different career fields, or a nurse. Okay, you can go ahead and already check off the ones that you'd assume women would be good at, right? And so if you are just looking at it from an old school, um, we'll call it outdated, perspective, you would say a woman would be good at these two, and then what about the rest? In today's society, people will say girls can too, and we don't disagree, right? So girls can too, play ball, construction, coach, and then they'll list their attributes as to why they can too, right? So let's just take these one at a time. So with basketball, if a girl goes up and she wants to shoot a three-pointer, this is the basket. If she wants to shoot a three-pointer, if she makes it, we say, wow, she's a good shooter. If she misses it, we don't say anything, right? Um, the thought is we actually expect them to miss the shot. We know it, but we don't say it. And so when they make the shot, we're super impressed, and especially if they do it consistently. And I know that sounds silly, but that is the truth. So much so that when they get really good at it, we say they shoot like a guy, right? Okay, so biggest name in the sport, Caitlin Clark, probably the third or second most popular player in the world right now, is popular behind the fact that she can shoot like Curry. They call her the MJ of her time. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Let's go into construction. If a girl can drive a dump truck, we don't just think, oh wow, that's dope. In fact, we're very impressed if a girl can drive a dump truck. And yes, women can drive dump trucks, but it's not the norm. So we don't trust that she can drive the dump truck until she does drive the dump truck. Now, if she takes that truck out on the first day and gets into a fender bender, nobody's super impressed. They laugh a little bit, tease her maybe, but it just is what it is. A guy does the same thing, and it's a little worse. Like, yeah, we're going to tease him as well, but we're actually expecting him to know how to drive if he wants to drive a truck. Okay? Um, let's see here. A nanny, obviously, if a woman is a nanny, there's no big congratulations. Nobody's like, wow, you're a nanny? That's amazing, right? But it is amazing. You know, it is a hell of a job to pick up and take care after people's kids, especially when those people have enough money to have a nanny that they don't take the time to actually teach their kids how to respect the nanny. You see that a lot in this world. Okay, so yeah, a nanny is nothing short of any of these other things, but we look at it different and we say, oh, well, don't put me in that category as a woman. Fine. So go to a CEO or a coach. Now, in the same aspect, when we look at female, and I'm not super steeped in female coaches and female CEOs, but they exist. I know Uncle Nearest is a brand. I'm sorry, Nearest is a brand that is ran by women. Okay, they happen to be the sister company to Jack Daniels, if I'm not mistaken, or the actual, perhaps I think Uncle Nearest taught Jack Daniels how to distill whiskey. So, but now it's a company ran by women. I think it's actually exclusively ran by women, if I remember correctly. It's not to say they can't be CEOs. It's just, what do we trust them to be? We trust them to be something else, and they'll show us other things. And we're not here to kick them out of there and say, you can't run this. It just is what it is, right? Now, here we go. This is a big example. A soldier. So I had this conversation the other day with somebody. Our SecDef wants to get women out of combat roles. And women are saying, we can too. Okay? So, if you have a team of 10 big shoulder dudes, all right, and then these are male figures, you take one of those guys off and you put a female, which is going to be a dress shape, even though she's not wearing a dress, obviously, on that squad. Okay. Do you think she's going to get the same responsibilities as them? Although her job title says it, her job description says she should be able to shoot, kill, carry, jump, everything that these guys can do. Do you think she can do it? Do you think they'll expect that of her? No, they won't. What will happen, in fact, is she will become the one person on the team that we have to protect at all costs. And if she were to be shot and laid out, men would risk their lives to go get her and bring her back to safety. This is a barricade. Okay? Literally. Now, if we can't retrieve her, what will happen is we will send more troops, because POW is no place for women. Okay? So, if the enemy captures a female troop, the way it torments us as men in this society where we protect women is in a way that we will be willing to sacrifice ourselves to go get her. Okay? Now, if Joe Blow gets shot and Tom gets shot, we're going to do everything we can, but if they're pinned down and it's a firefight, they're probably going to be, going home like that. And that's just part of war. But we can accept that. We can accept when a guy dies in a firefight. We cannot accept a woman being captured or dying. We just can't. And so what do you say? You say, fine, then we can do it ourselves. Let's make a team of 10 women so we don't have to worry about that bull crap that guys are always talking about. And I say, okay, if you take this team of 10 women and you have the same strike force mission as the remaining 7 guys, I'll pose the question. Or even worse, if these two teams went against each other, hand to hand, foot to foot, gun to gun, however you want to do it, do you think these women would be these 7 men? And maybe sometime in 100 years, when women have spent as much time as men have spent in battle, they will be able to do it. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I would put a large amount of money on the fact that these 7 guys can wipe out these 10 well-trained women in a hand-to-hand or otherwise team versus team combat. Okay? But let's just get rid of that example and say the objective is to go into enemy territory. This is the enemy's pyramid. Is to go into the pyramid, take something, and evac by helicopter. This is a helicopter. Okay? how many casualties, and if there is a casualty taken on the team, what are the chances of that person getting carried out the same way as one of these? And we sit here and we say it's unfair or this or that or the other, but the fact is bullets don't care who they hit, and when they're hit, kind of like a bomb, they're just going to kill or maim whoever they hit. And when it comes down to it, no matter how strong the strongest woman can be, she may be able to lift a 200-pound man. Maybe. I don't know that, but maybe. Actually, as a soldier, that might be different. For fitness competition, sure, 200-pound person, but and carry them 100 yards. But at what time? How long does it take to get 100 yards? Right? So we'll guarantee you any one of these men that have made it to SEAL Team 6 can carry a partner 100 yards in less time than the woman can. It just is what it is. So this is why we believe women coming out of combat roles is better, because a men's team in combat is more effective, more able to be more reckless, able to sacrifice more to get the mission done. Any one of these women doesn't come home and we're coming back out with the full force. We're not leaving a woman to be captured and tortured and otherwise. It's not the way we feel about it. And that's just maybe whatever you want to call it. I just think it's just the way we protect women in our society. So when we look at that, just as examples of how we trust women, no, we don't trust them to do that. But let's go back into the relationships and Sims. What do I trust a woman to do? I don't trust her to lift the couch. I don't trust her to build the house. I don't trust her to, defend me. She may be a money getter, but I'm not with her for that reason, so it's kind of on the line to, I don't trust her to fix my car. Okay? Things like this. Things that I need to trust somebody for. I call my homie. I call my brother. The bros come through. Now what do I trust her for? I trust her to tell me what she needs. I trust her to be sexual. Yep. I trust her to be feminine. Yeah, sorry about that. The feminine. I trust her to inspire me. Things like this, yes, I can trust a woman for these things, okay? Now, with all of these things, they're always attached to a mood. This is part of being a woman. This is something that I don't think can change unless you want to date guys. And I'm not dating dudes. Let me erase that. Yeah, so it's attached to a mood. Okay? Everything women do is driven by emotion. So, depending on what mood or what emotion she's in, she may not be able to do this, among the other things we rely on women to do. And then again, obviously, from time to time, she overcomes even in the other sense. So this might be seen as kind of a negative connotation, but it's not. But then if you consider all of these things, she's accomplished all these things also, depending on what time of the month it is, right? So she's both been able to do it or not do it. When this is going on, see if we can get a little better explanation. When this is going on, and then she's also both been able to and not to do it just on a basis of maybe something else is going on that's got her mood down or this or that or the other. So the things we trust them for, we still give a leniency to their mood, right? Now, when they trust us for things, or when I trust the bro for things, when we trust men for things, don't care how you feel, bro. Get this couch. Don't care how you feel, bro. Get on that roof, shingle that joint. Don't care how you feel, bro. Defend the house. Don't care how you feel, bro. Make your money. Don't care how you feel, bro. You can walk to work. Figure it out. Okay? There is no excuse or reason or otherwise for why a man shouldn't do the things that he's trusted to do. Okay? So, and we are proud of this also. So this is not a negative thing either. This is also positive. Like I said, this may be seen as negative, the mood thing, but it's positive because we want our women to feel. We don't want you to be robots, okay? Like that one on the Jetsons, with the Lego hands. There's a Lego hand. We don't want a woman that just says yes just to say yes. I don't want a woman that just says yes to say yes and just lays down to lay down and whatever just because I say so, and that robotic smile. We don't want a robot woman. We want our women to feel, and we want it to be a safe place to feel. So if I desire something like this and she's having issues or something else, it's still safe. I'm not like, okay, well, let me replace you for a younger model with less miles. No, I don't want the younger model with less miles. I want the model that I bought, paid for. So it doesn't change for the man when he looks at his woman and he can't trust her to do the thing he needs her to do right now. She more than makes up for it either way. Otherwise, he wouldn't have her around. So, part of being a woman is definitely this part where you have to feel, you have to, and that's the luxury. Again, that's why we say it's a woman's world, and people laugh at us. But men work for women, both figuratively, emotionally. We work to get women, we work to save women, we work to protect women. If you take women out of the world, it's just a bunch of dudes collecting cars and slapping high fives. That's not cool, So, where are we going with that? So, yeah, that's what I feel about, like, with trusting women. It's not that we don't trust them, as the statement is in the previous video. It's that we don't trust them to do the things we need to do as men. We trust them to do the things they need to do as women, though. Okay, so I forgot the context of how I said it, but I know it came off as just we don't trust women, and that's not what I meant to say. We trust women to be women. This is terrible handwriting. It probably won't ever get better, but this is supposed to say proud. Men are proud of the difficulty it takes and the hard conditions that it takes to remain a man. Okay? Yes. I think that covers it. And so how did we land on that? I do believe some of the lack of trust came from this idea that so when you take somebody under your sleeve and you teach them something, you take them on kind of like a daughter, right? And tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm right, but I do believe some women taught some girl that she should. Is that how you spell withhold? Or is it two H's? Yeah, that's ugly. But she should withhold in order to steer her man. Okay? I don't believe that was ever something that was a good idea. I don't think it's biblical because there's something you learn in the patience that you gain from still fully loving somebody, even if they don't do what you want. There's a biblical lesson in that patience that you lose if you withhold. Okay, so that thought to withhold to try to steer or change a man it's not great advice. And one thing I will say in my rule book is, and this sounds stupid, but women can give some terrible advice. Terrible. Okay? And you know it. You just don't want to say it sometimes. But women can give some terrible advice. So you teach a girl to withhold from her man or husband, which is more important probably, but withhold whatever it is, love, affection, kindness, whatever it is that he trusts you for. If you withhold that from him, he's got to starve. You starve a dog, he's going to go find somewhere else to eat. Because dogs eat, not like cats. Dogs will eat the whole bowl of food. The bag, if you leave it on the floor, they'll just keep eating, even if they're not hungry. Cats, you can leave the whole thing out. They'll jump on the counter, eat a little bit, go back, come back later. They're smarter. Dogs are like guys. They'll just eat. So, you starve a dude, he goes to find somewhere else to eat. This is where you start to decay the relationship, in my opinion. Because then you go tit for tat, and it's like, who really wins in that? Okay. The truth of this, when you get into the tit for tat phase, I'll put it like this. It's a leader's responsibility to lead a relationship to steady waters. Okay? That's a boat. It's the leader's responsibility. So who's the leader of your relationship? Okay? Just put it that way. Okay? Don't want to go tit for tat. Some people call it the crazy cycle. You can feel it coming up. You know it. You can see it from a mile off. If you've been married, you can feel it. You know when it's coming. Okay? The leader has to lead the relationship to safer waters. Okay? That's their responsibility. So that means break down whatever miscommunication you have. Break down the anger. Put away the pride. Build a bridge and get over it. Because you don't have the luxury of being sassy as a leader. No sass, okay? This sucks sometimes, but the payoff is on the backside. As the leader, you get the 51% of how we move, okay? That's the payoff. Or as I put it, 70-30. So you have to be the bottom and the top piece of bread in the sandwich. Okay? The leader has to be willing to go deeper than her deepest emotion of sadness or anger. And then he also gets to be the cap. And this keeps her happy. This is the cheese. Girls love cheese. And then in the middle, you've got all those other emotions that make that sandwich. But this is the leader. 2 pieces of stale bread holding it together. Never changing, always consistent. You don't want soggy bread on the bottom and hard bread on the top. You know what I mean? You want it to be consistent. That's the leader. We're making a sandwich, okay? So, Um, Again, don't starve the dude, because dogs will eat. And you can't change a man. You can't. Okay? Perhaps I'm getting off topic here, but what I'm saying is the reason why we've learned that we can't trust is because the game has been played, the withholding game has been played for a few decades, and it's changed things, you know. And anytime as a woman, even though it might be that time of month, or you might have emotions, you could take the responsibility and be what we need. That's always a plus if you go above and beyond, and we know you do. So, as often as you can just understand that, look at me doing new things. I didn't know I could do that. As often as you go ahead and take that responsibility, because this is your role and responsibility in the 30%, you don't let anything get in between you doing your 30%. It keeps a dude feeling and understanding. I don't know what this was supposed to say. Feeling and understanding that you love him, and that makes the 70% that much easier to do when we know that you got us. All right, so the differences become when you grow up from your girlish ways and you become a woman, as we see it, as men see it. When you grow up from your girlish ways and you become a woman, you understand the importance of this responsibility. Whether you feel it or not, whatever mood you're in, you start to realize that. This is why we date women, not girls. It's because women understand this. Dating a girl, she will for sure take every opportunity to take time off, you know? And of course, we're still on the clock, around the clock as men, right? So if you as a man are dating a girl, you're on the clock 24/7, and she's got a headache or she feels this way or that or the other, and you have to accept that because that's who you chose, right? So you sow what you reap, or you choose what you choose. You made your bed, now lay in it because you're committed to it, right? But what I'm saying is, when you found a good woman, she puts her responsibilities above, whatever she's going through. And even if it's just a conversation, it's not like, hey, you know, we're trying to do this festive Halloween type of situation. Like, nobody's trying to control you or force you to do anything, but you choosing on your own right to take that responsibility for your 30% as often as possible is not a small thing. It's not a small thing. That's how we feel like we're being met with our 70. Your 30% holds just as much, if not more weight than the 70%. It's very, very much, I think if you have one of those scales, it would be tipping, all right? That's a scale. It would tip like this, okay? Slightly like that out of balance, 70/30, okay? That's how I feel it looks. That 30% less weighs more than the 70. And so for that reason, the next topic I will have to go into is less is in fact more.